can. We need to make sure the engagement is okay before the start. We're going to...
Well, folks, I think I might owe the entirety of Brazil an apology there for accidentally cutting into the anthem. And as you can see, as I tried to kind of get out of everybody's way, I could not do that for some reason. And so, yeah, just kind of waiting for the rest of the field to line up around me. And I'm hoping that if your name is Mike Nickens, you're able to kind of listen around me here to make sure you don't hit me on the way through. Same with Roman Furchi there in 16th. I don't know how I wound up 15th, but that is just kind of how it went, it looks like. But let's try and get a view from the front row here instead of my sorry ass at the back. And yeah, we should get a decent look here as I'll try to bring it back into our actual spectator mode here on the other side. Again, 36 laps we're looking at tonight. As again, I'm not 100% sure what we're waiting for right about now. Yeah, it's just kind of a wait at the start of the grid for some reason. As you can see, there's a bit of a countdown happening. So let's go from one side of the front row to the other. We'll see it from Colby Luca's perspective. As it looks like, you know, we might have a little bit of good fortune to see the start from this side as we're underway now. And it looks like Macaulay's gotten off to a good start. Luca trying to catch him here, but it looks like, yeah, Macaulay's gotten that run off of the line. Oh, but Luca gets spun around. Again, not 100% sure what went down there, but certainly Colby Luca has found himself way at the back now. As, yeah, I am trying to, as you can see from that leaderboard, I'm trying to get this right here so I can actually get myself out of this race. Again, it's a stupid flaw in spectator mode in F1 22 that I can't just purely be a spectator. Instead, it forces me to actually race as opposed to how it was in 2020 and 2021. But let's actually, as we stay with Colby Luca, let's go to Corbin Macaulay here, the guy at the head of the field. As again, we're trying to get everything back live here as soon as possible. And it looks like we're back right about now as we're on to lap number 2 of 36. And yeah, for some reason, yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me retire the car. So if anyone happens to be listening right now and is looking for me to provide an answer, I don't have an answer for you, unfortunately. Just trying to figure this out here. Oh, maybe if I... Well, no, it's not letting me take control. So, yeah, I don't know what's wrong, but I can tell you the pit strategies are very much in place here. So, one stopper, as you saw, potentially lap 16 to 21. I would presume quite a bit of the field will look at, you know, the 2 stop. But again, we'll have to see how that shakes out. But again, as I try to sort out the spectator issue on my side, as you can see, a majority of the field, it looks like they're starting on the mediums. As it looks like my game actually crashed here, so just trying to get everything back up and running here as we're on to lap 3, meaning DRS is enabled, as you can see right on the screen. And Darcy Ford doing some pretty good damage control, it would appear, as he's moved up into second here in the first couple laps. And we'll watch it from Michael Dimitrov's point of view. And again, damage control, as long as Corbin McCauley's at the head of the field, that might be the name of the game here for the 64. As, again, he tries to hold on to what is a very slim lead in the Drivers' Championship. If it was to end right now, Dimitrov, of course, took the fastest lap just a moment ago. But if it was to end right now, you'd see I believe, another 3-point swing. So that would take it down to a 9-point difference between McCauley and Ford, with just the one race remaining next week at Suzuka. As again, we're seeing things from Michael Dimitrov's perspective right now, as he's got DRS wide open, and he's just going to fly past Darcy Ford here, at least for the time being. We'll see if through kind of the tighter sections Ford's able to get it back. Of course, he'll have the benefit of the DRS on the flip side here. So we'll see if Ford goes for a move. But no, it looks like Dimitrov's going to hold on to second place here for the time being. As we'll move it back to race leader Corbin McCauley. And it looks like he's got about a 3.5-second gap between himself and Michael Dimitrov there at the head of the field, as we're on lap number 4 of 36. Again, the lap's ticking away very quickly here at Interlagos. The lap times, again, once you're in racing conditions, you're kind of looking more or less at the kind of 110, 111, somewhere in that ballpark. But again, the only number that McCauley's looking for at the head of the field is, of course, that number 1, that top step of the podium. As again, he's trying to do anything he can to cut into the lead. And of course, Darcy Ford dropping down to 3rd doesn't hurt that cause for McCauley either. As again, I'm trying to get everything proper here to get spectator mode running as it should be once again. And again, just trying to get everything right. We do appreciate everybody bearing with us. Again, for some reason, yeah, it's still not letting me retire the car. So I'm not 100% sure, excuse me, why I can't get that right. But let's just see here, because I have tried to, I've tried just about everything. Again, spectator mode within private leagues absolutely flawed this year. So yeah, I can't get that one right for anything really. As again, I'm doing my best here, and we'll just have to apologize. Yeah, no, it's still not letting me take control right now, so we got a yellow in sector 1. Not 100% sure what we're seeing there. Oh, now I think it is letting me take control, and now I might actually be able to retire it. So let's just see, retire from session. Yeah, I think we're good here now. So do not mind that yellow in sector 3. I'm just trying to get off of the track here. There we go. Now I've finally got it right. As it looks like we're all set here now to go back live. Was that? Hold on there. No, that was absolutely not our race leader, Corbin McCauley, of course. As you can see, he's got himself... Oh, man. These connection issues are not ideal at all, as we're on to lap 7 of 36. Meanwhile, looks like we got ourselves a bit of a battle. Darcy Ford, as you can see, has just reclaimed second place from Michael Dimitrov. And again, every point is absolutely massive in this championship race. And the fact that Dimitrov, again, has the fastest lap of the race to this point, that's something that both Corbin McCauley and Darcy Ford will want to rectify here in relatively short order. Or at least by the time the end of the race happens. But again, not 100% sure why my feed is still so glitchy. All the internet numbers looked good in my kind of pre-testing, so to speak. But yeah, everything is still kind of messy here, I have to say. But certainly looking pretty clean so far for the number 71 of Corbin McCauley as we bring it back to our regular feed. And he's set to begin lap number 8 now as we got a yellow in sector 2. But it looks like that's cleared itself up pretty quickly here. As again, we'll try and bring up the full track map to see if we can identify anything happening a little bit sooner. And yeah, it looks like everything's pretty clean so far otherwise. As again, we're coming up on the quarter race distance here at Interlagos. Again, not 100% aware of any weather changes. It looks pretty clear there, I have to say. As again, McCauley looks like he's in a decent spot. However, let's see if Michael Dimitrov's going to try and make a move here. As we got a yellow in sector 1, but again, I think that's, well, we got a 3-second time penalty, I can tell you that, for Cody Cudmore down in 9th. It looks like Roman Furchi's had a bit of a crash there in sector 1, as it looks like he's out of this one. And so, yeah, it looks like it'll be just the one red dirt driver finishing up here tonight as Dimitrov makes his way past Darcy Ford with a bit of a brazen pass, actually, through that final corner into the start of lap 9. Meanwhile, let's see if we can get ourselves a little bit more info here. It looks like Colby Luca's done a good job of making his way through the field. He's climbed up into 8th place now. As, oh, we just saw a little bit of a wide run, but again, I think that was just more the game and connection than anything else. However, let's go to Andy Hurdle as he tries to hold on and try to hold off Colby Luca here. This would be a battle for 7th place. And again, Hurdle just trying to hold on while Colby Luca is looking for a bit of a recovery drive here. And let's actually watch it from the number 53's perspective. Here's Luca on the attack. And yeah, still not quite able to size up Hurdle just yet, but of course, he does have the very lengthy DRS zone here to end this lap, which, you know, given that he's so close, yeah, Hurdle, unfortunately for Luca, will also have access to DRS here, as he's well within range of Robert Narakaj in 6th. And Luca, I think he thought about a dive there to begin lap 10, but ultimately thought better of it. And maybe just a little contact there between Hurdle and Luca as they come through the Sennas. And now Luca diving down the inside. Brilliantly done there from Luca to grab 7th place from Andy Hurdle, getting the benefit of that secondary DRS zone. And ultimately, with Narakaj out of range, Hurdle couldn't really defend it. And so, position swapped. Meanwhile, a little bit further up the field, as I should put the overlay back on. A little bit further up the field, Ty Higginbotham's looking to find himself in the top 3, but will he do it at the expense of his teammate? That's an interesting question here. Higginbotham has DRS now as we're on to lap 11. And it looks like Higginbotham's just going to hold position here right now. Of course, Darcy Ford would be less than thrilled if something was to go down. And speaking of going down, got something in sectors 2 and 3, kind of right where it changes over. Not 100% sure who that is. It looks like it was just kind of a bit of an off there. And now we're back to green flag racing. No other cautions so far. And again, we're watching Ty Higginbotham here, only half a second back of his teammate Darcy Ford. We got a yellow in Sector 3. But that should clear itself up momentarily as we've got... So that's Mason Pope actually out of this one. So that's our third retirement of the evening. Second official one. Again, that other idiot is the third one. You can't really count on him. And by him, I mean me. As again, we got more yellows kind of cropping up here. Now, is that Pope trying to get back on track, or what's going on here? Not 100% sure what's happening. Here, as you can see, we've got the yellow in sectors 1 and 2. Can't really pinpoint who that is right now, though, because it didn't show anybody coming into pit lane. So, yeah, not 100% certain on who's kind of inflicting that issue here. As maybe that's where Pope's official DNF will happen. As we're now on to lap number 12 of 36. So 1/3 race distance as we get to the line. And that's going to bring Jason Butler and Darcy Cudmore in as our first pit stops of the evening. And let's see what tire they opt for. Butler opting for the soft, just purely to try and make up pace. So that means he'll have to probably come in again. But as you can see, the entirety of the rest of the field, all on the all on mediums otherwise. As we got a bit of a spinner here. I think that's Ivan Reynolds. And indeed it is. That's who we were on board with. And again, I'm not sure if that was just a pure spin or whether that was something to do with the game and my connection. But here we are. As again, we've just got the 2 pit stops in the books right now. Again, unofficially it gave Mason Pope one, but there's Darcy Ford picking up a 3-second penalty. And Corbin McCauley is going to be able to breathe a little bit easier. Not only that, Michael Dimitrov's just tried to take over second place, but Ford holds on for now. And let's just see this battle continue. This has been a pretty spicy one, actually, throughout the course of the evening. And, of course, Ty Higginbotham hanging around in there as well in 4th. He's only about 1/4 of a second back of Dimitrov as well. So, let's bring it back to, again, that battle for 2nd through 4th, actually. As I'll try and bring it back to Mr. Higginbotham's perspective. There you see it. All 3 cars relatively close here. And we'll get Higginbotham's perspective. As, yeah, now you're seeing a battle for 6th and 7th between Colby Luca and Robert Narakaj as well as they begin lap 14. And as they do that, you see Higginbotham kind of falling back a little bit from that 2nd and 3rd place battle. So let's go to 6 and 7 here on board with Colby Luca. Trying to line up Robert Narakaj at some point in the lap, perhaps at the end. And there you get a bit of a sense of the tire wear that the number 53 is looking at so far. Looking probably either a little bit past halfway or not quite halfway there. So it looks like he's doing a decent job on the management side of things. No other damage to report. And of course, the way to avoid any kind of damage is to keep things clean, as our race leader has. Corbin McCauley, he finds himself with a 10-second lead on the track. And of course, Darcy Ford with that 3-second penalty. Right now, that would actually drop him down to 4th. So this race is just getting tighter and tighter here, folks. And yeah, the math at the end of this one, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that ultimately unfolds, as we will bring it back now to Michael Dimitrov as he tries to make a move here potentially on Darcy Ford, or tried, I guess would be the proper way to express that. Back to Dimitrov's point of view, as we're on lap 15 of 36 now. And there you see the gap, about again, down to a quarter of a second here between Ford and Dimitrov. Pretty competitive battle that's lasted, you know, about probably 6 or 7 laps here at least to this point. But I know at one point we were talking about whether or not Ty Higginbotham would get past. Dimitrov, I thought, may have had a go, but certainly he'll have a go into the start-finish line here. As these two, again, I don't think it's that violent on track. Dimitrov, however, getting the benefit of the DRS that time around, and at the beginning of lap 16, he moves up into second. And so, Ty Higginbotham has pitted here now. That'll give Darcy Ford, at least temporarily, a net third, with Dan Cudmore about 5.7 seconds back, and it's just 3 seconds worth of penalties for Darcy Ford right now. And so we'll have to see what the pit strategies ultimately look like for our top drivers in the field here tonight. As we will, let's see who we can go to. Yeah, so we're on with Darcy Ford here right now, as it looks like, you know, based on the times, the majority of the field actually kind of spreading out here a little bit. As Corbin McCauley's into pit lane here now, he goes in with a 10.7 second lead. We'll see if Dimitrov stays out for another lap, or if he happens to head in. And no, both Dimitrov and Ford headed into pit lane now, so Dan Cudmore will inherit the lead of this race. Potentially here, as, again, I'm not sure where McCauley's going to rejoin. And it may actually be, nope, Cudmore has officially taken the lead, but that's not going to be a huge gap that you're seeing. And now Colby Luca has moved up into second, but noteworthy that he has to pit still as well. And he's going to have Corbin McCauley right on his back here. Let's actually go to that battle. So McCauley back out in third. Again, he's made his pit stop. Dan Cudmore and Colby Luca have not. So again, Corbin McCauley back to being the net leader of this race. Just again, a matter basically of time now in terms of when Cudmore and Luca happen to make their stops. And just see how long they can stretch those tires. And speaking of that stretch, Andy Hurdle again starting on the hard tire, and as a result he's climbed up into fourth place. And again, he'll be able to stay out just a little bit longer as Luca makes his pit stop. And again, if he heads to the hards like the majority of the field has, you'd have to imagine it's a one-stopper. And yeah, hard tire is the call for Colby Luca as he makes his way back out onto the track. It looks like he'll dip down to about 7th place here. Right about where he had been. And again, we'll see how long Dan Cudmore can hold on to these tires here as we bring it back to our regular view. Darcy Cudmore, meanwhile, picking up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And again, Dan Cudmore trying to see if he can stretch it out just a little bit, and just in the name of maintaining position as much as anything else. As he comes through Jinsao. And again, it's just a flat-out run here to the line, but he's going to be joined by one Corbin McCauley trying to track him down here. But no DRS that time around for McCauley. I imagine it's probably a formality on the next lap as McCauley picks up that ever-important fastest lap point, as he also picks up a warning for exceeding track limits, so he may have to tighten things up as well. Darcy Ford answering by picking up the fastest lap now, which again will be very important as he tries to defend his lead in the championship. And again, now you see that gap just shriveling away at the top of the board. And as a result, again, you've got 4/10 basically between, or you did anyway, between Dan Cudmore and Corbin McCauley. And there you see the gap right on track. And again, you feel like whether Cudmore comes in this lap or not, I feel like it's a formality that by the time we get to the line, it's going to be Corbin McAuley leading this race again. Although as I say that, well, no, I thought Cudmore had gone wide, but I think, again, that may have been just a game thing. And, yeah, this is child's play here for Corbin McAuley as he takes the lead once again as we're on to lap number 20 of 36. And, again, you have to think that is probably spelling the end of those medium tires for the number 2 Alpha Flow driver. And you'd have to imagine, even with a bit of a gap there to Andy Hurdle, you'd have to imagine he's probably headed for pit lane this time around. Because again, that gap's pretty comfortable right now. The medium's probably reaching the end of their shelf life though, it has to be said. As meanwhile, we've got a little bit of action a little further down the field here, it would appear. As we'll go to a battle here between a couple of guys we haven't really talked about that much tonight. Cody Cudmore in 10th, trying to wrestle 9th away from Jason Butler. Battle a little bit further down the field, but as that happens, you're seeing, a little bit of a jockeying for 3rd and 4th as well between Andy Hurdle and Darcy Ford. And Ford needs the track position because, of course, he's got that 3 seconds of time penalties to serve as well, which would actually put him down to a net 5th as it stands. And again, it came to, coming into the race, it was a 12-point gap between Darcy Ford and Corbin McAuley for that top spot in the championship. And right now, if things kind of finish as they are right now, let's just see who has fastest lap. Is it still Darcy Ford? Let's just see. No, I'm in the wrong menu there. Fastest lap. Yeah, it is Darcy Ford who still has it. And again, that's a very important point for his title defense here, or prospective title defense. As it looks like, yeah, Andy Hurdle's made his pit stop. He's flipped over to the mediums. Dan Cudmore doing the same. As, okay, that's what happened. They both started on the hard tires. So that's why Dan Cudmore was able to stay out just a couple laps longer. And so they dropped down to 7th and 8th. Corbin McAuley now holding a 12.8 second lead over Darcy Ford. And then again, Ford with 3 seconds of time penalties. So that puts him down to a net 3rd by the time this evening would get resolved, if we do happen to wind up at that point. As Colby Luca just takes away fastest lap honors, 111.217. As Luca's done a good job of getting himself back into the top 5. Great recovery here from the number 53. As we'll bring it back up to the head of the field where we find Michael Dimitrov again battling with Darcy Ford. These two have been inseparable here the majority of the evening. Again, it should be noted that Ford obviously still has those 3 seconds, so it's kind of a formality that Dimitrov would move up to 2nd if things end as they stand right now. But, again, purely on track, this has been a heck of a battle. Probably one of the better battles we've seen this season, if we're going to be honest. As both Ford and Dimitrov make their way through the final couple corners, winding up into the DRS zone. Dimitrov will have that rear wing open, a little bit of a speed advantage here on the start-finish straight, but is he close enough to make the move on Dimitrov? The answer is no. Or, yeah, Dimitrov making the move on Ford, excuse me. But he may have another go here, as that gap is definitely down, so DRS zone number 2, Darcy Ford already very much in defense mode. And he's going to hold 2nd place for another lap here, it would appear. As, again, we continue to monitor everything going on. Corbin McAuley, just to tell you, 13.2 seconds up on this battle that you're seeing on your screen right now. And we'll cut to his rather clear track perspective as Robert Narakaj picks up a 3-second time penalty, as you can see from our own feed. So Narakaj currently in 7th. He is the 5th driver, it would appear, to pick up such a penalty this evening. And let's just see. 3 seconds for most of them. Jason Butler picking up a 5. So not 100% sure what that one was for, but definitely 5 seconds instead of the 3. A couple seconds worse, obviously, as I think that would just put him and Cody Cudmore almost in a dead heat, actually, because Cody Cudmore with the 3-second penalty, he's kind of right there, but 2.5 seconds back on track. So obviously it would get a lot closer there, as speaking of getting closer, let's just see, we've got a battle brewing between Cudmore and Narakaj here, that being Dan, who's moved up into the 6th, and his Alpha Flow teammate, looks like he's made the move finally stick on Darcy Ford. Has there been a bit of a mistake there perhaps, as Ford is tumbling down the board? Let's actually go to him on spectator. Yeah, it looks like he's made a mistake here. And yeah, he's fallen down to 7th. And again, with the 3-second time penalty, that would actually be a net 8th right now. Although again, it looks like our timing board has kind of sorted itself out, but ultimately a mistake from our championship leader, that could blow the doors off of this thing, setting up a showdown at Suzuka if things hold. As we got a yellow in Sector 2 still. And just a brief section of the track, not 100% sure who's run afoul there, but the yellow remains in place. But yeah, I don't see anyone actually off right now. But speaking of off, I can definitely tell you that our timing boards are off, as we will flip to Corbin McCauley's Twitch stream, as he is set to end lap number 25 of 36. So it'll be 11 to go at the line. And yeah, his stream's still showing Darcy Ford in 2nd place. So yeah, not 100% sure what's gone down there and why, again, Darcy Ford is showing in 7th on our spectator feed. But yeah, let's just try and figure this out as much as anything else. As you see Corbin McCauley approaching some back markers. Here looks like he's coming up on the back of one Mike Nickens, and he just kind of flies right on by. And yeah, it looks like, yeah, there must be something wrong with my own timing. Here, there you see another change in that board, or at least I'm seeing it off of my side. Of course, we don't have that live right now. But yeah, clearly something is amiss there with the timing, and yeah, there's the official disconnection that I'm seeing in the background. So again, thankfully we've got the benefit of the Twitter feeds to, or Twitch feeds to back us up. A lot of things starting with Twit these days, and clearly not enough people actually being told they are twits in order to kind of make things work here. And so yeah, we'll try and bring back our regular feed for the last 9.5, 10 laps, but again, we do have the benefit of being able to see other streams as we go along. And matter of fact, the 3 streams that we're following, 1st, 3rd, and 4th, so pretty good action at the head of the field, it has to be said. As, yeah, we're watching Michael Dimitroff's stream here now as he tries to, yeah, get onto the back of Darcy Ford here. And again, we'll have more of probably an official feel of it here soon enough, as, again, hopefully our spectator feed will be back. okay, now we're into spectator mode again, and yeah, the timing looks a lot more official now than it once did. But again, you're seeing Dimitrov here try to track down Colby Luca, or no, Colby Luca trying to track him down, but obviously 7 seconds back, but trying to track down Darcy Ford more specifically. So this is going to be another kind of showcase in defending here from Darcy Ford as the DRS is open here in this first zone. But again, Ford has enough clearance there to maintain second place as we're on lap 28 of 36 here now. We've just passed the 3/4 distance, and it has absolutely been a masterclass from Corbin McCauley from the minute those lights went out. Essentially is how this has gone down. And again, the math stands to tighten up just that much more here for McCauley in his championship pursuits. As again, he's got Darcy Ford behind him, which in itself will get him another 3 points. Neither man with fastest lap, so that is, you know, obviously a difference as well. And then, of course, Ford with the 3 seconds of time penalties. That'll drop him down a place, so that's another point. So I think if my live math is right here, we'd be looking at an 8-point separation between Corbin McCauley and Darcy Ford as we look ahead to next week. But obviously, still a lot to be done here as we're only on lap 29 of 36. Again, the fact that we're looking at hard tires here, definitely a one-stopper through to the end. And let's just see if this will actually hold up for us this time around. As again, I've got the spectator view working officially on our end again, or at least it's live, so to speak. There's your proof as we've just switched from Dimitrov's Twitch to the actual stream itself, or the actual spectator race. As we're now beginning lap 30 here with our drivers in second and third, just trying to get everything sorted out. Obviously, Corbin McCauley has not fallen down the field, so it looks like we still have some timing issues. So we'll go back to Dimitrov's Twitch to see if those issues will resolve themselves. And yeah, I can give you an idea of kind of what's happening anywhere else on the track here, though. Not really a whole lot in the way of battles, but yeah, just gave me an online services error there on my end. So again, we're kind of forcing ourselves to work with what we have here in terms of the PS4 connectivity. And again, the battle between Ford and Dimitrov that you're seeing on the screen, definitely the best battle that we're seeing on the track right about now, and probably the most significant in terms of positioning as it relates to the championship, as Corbin McCauley finds himself with a 15.3 second lead right at the top of the boards. But we'll go to Colby Luca here, who again has authored just a fantastic recovery drive after that lap 1 spin. And he finds himself in fourth, and right now it's at the point where the 3 second time penalty will not affect him. He's 6.7 back of Dan Cudmore, who is fifth on track right now. As again, we're on to lap 31 here now. Hopefully we'll be able to bring a somewhat competent finish here in the spectator view. And I think I may have actually hit a button by mistake that made that not the case, but again, we're just working to bring it back here as quickly as we can. As again, we're coming up on lap 32 now. Matter of fact, our leader will have well started lap 32. Matter of fact, yeah, 15 seconds still the gap. Well, make it 12 now. 3-second time penalty for, well, no, it is still 15 on track because McCauley, you saw him just pick up a 3-second time penalty, and now Darcy Ford had that a bit earlier as well. So effectively a level playing field for those two, but again, that doesn't really help Darcy Ford right now, as again, his more pressing issue is with Michael Dimitrov behind him. And of course, Dimitrov would have the net podium as it stands right now, the net third position. As McCauley comes through this kind of start-finish, long old run here. And now we begin lap 33, so 4 laps to go now. And yeah, we are again seeing, I think, yet another Corbin McCauley masterclass here. And he's found his footing right when he's needed to. As again, he's on course for a 3rd straight victory here. And as mentioned, that would put him, if my math is right, within 8 points of Darcy Ford as we head to next week's championship decider. And again, things still very calm for McCauley at the head of the field. So let's go back to that 2nd and 3rd place battle between Ford and Dimitrov. And so, yeah, I misspoke earlier when I said Dimitrov would be in a podium position. Of course, he is in one right now. Just up another step here is what he's looking at, although he's just spun it here on lap 33. And that's definitely not a game glitch, as, you know, we're on his stream right now. So that is going to give Darcy Ford some more room to breathe, as it's Colby Luca who moves up to 3rd. Both of them have time penalties, so Darcy Ford may have just been given a gift there as it relates to the Drivers' Championship. Meanwhile, McCauley well underway on lap 34 now. And yeah, as a result, Dimitrov falling down to 4th now. So yeah, our 3 streamers that we're watching, 1, 3, and 4 on track. And 1, 2, and 3, of course, with 3-second time penalties. But again, Dimitrov falling off the back of Darcy Ford. Ultimately, that's the last thing that Corbin McCauley would have wanted to see. As again, that'll keep Darcy Ford in 2nd, and that'll be the game of damage control that we're seeing. As we're now beginning lap 35. So 2 laps remaining in tonight's Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. But for Corbin McCauley, I think he just has to keep his head down and just try to, you know, make sure he keeps it clean from here on in. As looks like we might actually be able to get him to finish here. As there you see the spectator view of it. We are officially back to where we need to be. And again, we'll see just how long this lasts. And again, pay no attention to, well, you might have to pay attention to it because it looks like we're probably going to get booted again. But yeah, that definitely is not the leaderboard the way you're seeing it there on the screen. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of that, actually. And again, we'll see just how long that lasts. But we can tell you, Corbin McCauley is now headed to the white flag as we move on to his view. Final lap of tonight's Brazilian Grand Prix. And I think we'll probably just wind up keeping it here the rest of the way. This is effectively a 1 lap early victory lap here for the number 71. He's done the job here tonight. Only thing he doesn't have right now is fastest lap. I'm sure he'd love to rectify that in these final few corners. And yeah, just trying to hold on, although a little bit of a wobble there in that turn. He did put up a purple sector 1. So he's definitely going for it here to try and grab that additional point. Although, yeah, a bit of a slide there through that turn, so I think that'll probably jeopardize his opportunity. Sure enough, red sector 2. But right now, again, on track, it's job done here for Corbin McCauley as he comes through the last couple corners. He is going to pick up his 3rd straight win of the season, and he's setting up a showdown in Suzuka. Corbin McCauley wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Darcy Ford looks like he's going to lock into 2nd place. Only question is whether or not Colby Luca can find enough time to get within 3 seconds, but again, they both have time penalties, so that's not going to matter. As Luca will finish in 3rd, and it looks like he's going to pick up fastest lap of the race as well. And so, again, podium set. Darcy Ford, he's done his damage control that he's needed to do. And again, we'll just kind of parade around with our race winner. Again, for the 3rd week running, it is the number 71 of Corbin McCauley. So again, we'll just kind of take it all in from his perspective as long as as long as we're allowed to, which is about half a second. And so, yeah, the only question now is really who's going to pick up driver of the day. I'm sure the game will have a different opinion. Colby Luca did a hell of a job coming back. And we'll see it from McCauley's perspective. We'll find out who driver of the day is, and sure enough, it is Colby Luca. So that is actually a well-deserved one for the number 50.